cup of coffee in the big time, yeah. Cup of coffee in the big time, because you'll never get closer than now.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I do truly appreciate it. I got a book in the mailbox and I want to open it up. I would say I want to open the box up, but I'm afraid this is not Amazon Prime, although it's an Amazon Prime envelope. This is a book, a signed first edition, first print of one of my two favorite Dean Koontz books. And I'd say it's a tie between Watchers, which I've got a signed first edition, first print copy of somewhere up here, and Intensity. And this was the first Dean Koontz book that I ever read in 2002 under recommendation from somebody who was not a Koontz fan, but said, hey, if you're going to read a Dean Koontz book, read Intensity. It's his best by far. I read it and I really, really liked it. And I read a lot of Dean Koontz books since 2002. And only one of them I could say I like that as much, and that's Watchers. Beyond that, for me, it's a significant drop-off. Not huge. I've never actually read a Dean Koontz book that I didn't like. But these two are the only ones that I say were awesome, phenomenal, fabulous, great books. The others were all very good. Some of them were more very good than others. But anyway, after all these years, I've been collecting books for 20-something years, 22-ish years. And 22-ish years later, I bought a first edition, first print copy of Intensity, signed by the author. I do have this one from Franklin. I'll show you it real quick. From Franklin. This one is a Franklin Library Intensity. And I think this was printed at the same time as the trade edition. And it is a signed copy. Oh, look at those end papers. Franklin did some good stuff. Leather bound. Smith's own binding, and it is signed by Dean Koontz. Came that way from Franklin. So great stuff, but I've wanted the trade, and I have a copy of the trade. I just didn't have a signed copy. So this one came up on eBay, and it was at the price that I could dig, and so I had the shot, and I took it. But it's the problem when you buy stuff on eBay. There are some great sellers that do great things. And then there are some sellers that give eBay a really bad name for a variety of reasons. Would be ripping you off on not sending you what you're supposed to get, not sending you anything at all, whatever. And then there are also sellers that just don't package things that are condition sensitive well enough to make sure they get to you at your house, in the mailbox, in that kind of a condition. And this I'm worried about. I got a book in an envelope, a bubble mailer. There's bubbles, so it's a little cushion, but this don't protect books. Anything bangs on a corner, the book is banged. Bangs there, bangs there. Any of that stuff that happens while things are being shipped across the country, being put in trucks, taken out of trucks, piled up, thrown into bins, taken out of bins, thrown into trucks. Stuff takes a beating. You got to protect it. A box, a big box, bigger than the book, cushioning all around it inside the box and stuff like that. Now, I don't know what's in here. Sometimes sellers will put cardboard around the book and put it in the mailer, hoping that that's what they did. But I don't know, and I'm not very confident. Oh, let's find out. So I'm just going to take and open this thing up, hoping for the best, expecting the worst. And I think it's not always a bad thing. That way you're less likely to be disappointed. But when I cut the ends, it is shipped in almost the worst possible way. You stick a book in an envelope and send it from California to Florida. Doesn't go much farther than that inside the continental United States. But they put a little bit of bubble wrap around it on one side. Nothing on the front there. So now I'm just relying completely on luck. Purely, nearly, clearly, and sincerely on luck. And so I got this thing is taped to the dust jacket Rodart thing. And let's see. So here it is, Intensity. This is the trade edition of Intensity by Dean Koontz. And it's not leaning. really any more than typical trade editions. It's an interesting thing, trade editions. Now, I buy limited edition books a lot. I recently showed you a limited edition book from Gauntlet. This is a trade edition with a Smithsonian binding, where that Gauntlet limited edition book that was $71 and change, or what it came out to be with shipping and all, with a glued binding there. And it looks like my book may have came through from California to Brooksville without taking any drops of any sort, and dodged a bullet, it seems. We'll look at this dust jacket a little more closely because it is wrapped in Brodart, but the book itself is not bashed or beaten or anything like that. Now, this dust jacket artwork, I'd never really thought much of. I felt like Dean Koontz deserved more. I mean, you got some geometry on there, but nothing that really invites. On a shelf, it might catch your eye. What's that? Because the bright colors and the geometric design on there. But I like dust jackets that look good. This one doesn't look good, but it is what it is. I like the book. What it is what it is. That's what Macho Man Randy Savage used to say long before people started saying it is what it is. What it is what it is. But I like the book, and I wanted the first print, so damn the artwork. I got what I got. Anyway, now we'll take a little bit closer look at this, and it is quarter cloth bound. Holy cow, for trade edition books, nuff. They made books better than a lot of our limited edition publishers do now. So quarter cloth, hot foil stamping on the spine, and then paper covered boards, and look at there. Foil stamp, blind stamp, whatever they call that, where it says intensity. So while the dust jacket artwork looked like crap, they made a quality trade edition book. Limited edition publishers often don't do this good of work anymore today. So Intensity was a great book. Edgeler Foreman Vests, I think, was the name of the bad guy in there. And he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy. But he was a bad guy that you remember for a long, long time. He was a well-written bad guy. I like Hannibal Lecter. It's not like, I like Hannibal Lecter. I like that guy. He's good. He's not good. He's a bad guy. Edgeler Foreman Vest is a bad guy. But danged if he wasn't very, very bad. Like the old say, when I'm good, I'm good. When I'm bad, I'm very, very bad. Well, he was very, very bad. One bad dude. One thing I remembered about Edgeler Foreman Vest, I may have forgotten his name. I don't know. I think that's what his name was that he chewed aspirin. And he chewed aspirin because the taste was bitter. And tasting something bitter was better than just swallowing something and tasting nothing at all. He liked sensation. And that kind of rang with me. He liked sensation, and bad sensation was better than no sensation. So interesting there. But Intensity was a great, great book. In a nutshell, young lady goes to visit her friend. Edgeler Foreman Vest comes in and takes over. Now the young lady is trying to get away, rescue her friend, things like that. So the main character is a lady, and she was a good main character. So I recommend it. If you've never read anything from Koontz, read Intensity. It's a good one. There's been a couple of movies kind of based on Intensity. None were truly accurate, but both were pretty good. And this is a first, well, we'll see. It's signed on the title page there, Dean Koontz. And it looks like Koontz to me. The seller put the picture of the signature up, so I compared it to all of the other signatures that I got of Koontz, and mark for mark, it looked just right. So I got no doubts on the accuracy or the authenticity of the signature. And then it is a first edition, first print. We'll look right here. Different books do different things, but a lot of them will have a number line that goes down to 1. But this one here would indicate that it's the first edition, first print, first trade edition, and it mentions no others or anything like that. So it looks like I dodged a bullet. The seller pissed me off by putting it in a bag like that. But you know what? Sometimes it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. And I got pissed off, but the friendly neighborhood mail lady and all of her coworkers took good care of me. From California to Florida, they took good care of me. And so now a glaring, big, bright, glaring, gaping maw of a hole in my book collection is filled. The hunger is satisfied, satiated, if you will, and I get to put a book on the shelf that I've been feeling like I'm missing for a long, long time. And it's weird. This is not a book that in signed first edition, first print, good condition comes up for sale very often. When it does, there's usually something wrong with it that you can read about in the description or see in the pictures, or it's too much, or the signature doesn't look just right, so I'm not going to pull the trigger on it. So it's been 22 years since I've wanted a signed copy of this book. I had a nice copy, it just never was signed. I figured one day I'll probably meet Dean Koontz at a signing somewhere and I'll get him to sign a boatload of books, and I've never, ever done such a thing. So I decided I need to buy the ones that I want, and this was one that I had to have. So in terms of what do I need now, really, for Koontz, I feel like Phantoms is a big gaping hole in my collection. I have a first print, again, first edition trade hardcover of Phantoms. It's not signed. And then the other one would be Odd Thomas. Got the book, got no signature. So those are two Koontz books that I need to add to my collection. They're on the bucket list of books. The bucket list of books. I love the bucket list of books. They're on there. I just need to find them at a price I can live with the quality that I want, and a signature that looks good enough for me to feel comfortable with. Opportunity, all that kind of stuff. And perhaps one day I'll be adding them to the collection. But with that being said, I can think of no more lies to tell. Crisis averted. Crisis. My book got a ding. I'm in a crisis scenario. It's weird how crises can be felt in the smallest of things. I don't know how it works. It just does. Thank you for your time. I do truly appreciate it. And say la vie, baby. Doo-doo. We done?